To inform all of you that we had a short and crisp meeting with all the DCs through video conference. The main issue was to alert them about the possible impact of the political crisis in Bangladesh and the impact that it may have in terms of influx of people into our state. So our point from both the Home Commissioners and from the Commissioner Nagaland side was that we should remain alert and alive to the situation. It should not be the case that the administration and the police and the entire state government is taken by surprise. So our main point was that the DCs should ensure that any security coordination committees, because the DCs have security coordination committees in their respective districts, so those should be activated immediately and they should have their meetings. We have the ILP system in our state excepting a few districts, so we have alerted that ILP checks have to be instituted, surprise checks have to be instituted. We have very strong village council set up, so we have suggested that the DCs should actually activate the village councils and ensure that the communication channels are open so that any unnatural movement, any incident that is slightly out of the ordinary should actually be reported immediately, and so that necessary action can be taken. And we also suggested to the DCs, rather we have insisted that cross-border meetings with our Assam counterparts are taken so that they would be the first responders. 90% of the chances that any movement would be from that side. So once the DCs are on the same page, that will be very helpful. They will act as early warning system. So this was the summum bonum of what was discussed during the DCs VC that we had. It lasted for about an hour or so, and the DCs have, I'm happy to report that the DCs have, even before our VC meeting, a few of the DCs had already activated the security coordination apparatus. Some activities have actually happened in terms of surprise checks in certain districts. Some DCs have actually extended their support. They have basically tried to speak to their counterpart in Assam. So it is not as if the DCs have not acted even before we spoke. But we thought that we would keep the entire district administration apparatus alert so that we are alive to the situation and we know what to expect. We have also alerted the DCs of Dimapur, Chumu and Ulan to ensure that, because we have the railhead very close to there, so we said that some surprise checks even in that area can be thought about. This is from our side. If you have anything to ask, this is the time, and I think that's
how effective is the implementation of ILP in the state to prevent unauthorized entry in the state?
So the idea behind this ILP is that you have regular checks, and if a person is not carrying the ILP, you sort of report and you do the necessary things. So once you see that a particular person does not carry an ILP, you sort of do the necessary, the next step, which is basically ask them why they are here, and you typically interrogate them, and then you take the next step. So about effectiveness, it has been the regular checks are happening. Not sure how ineffective it is. I think it is fairly effective, especially in districts around our state, especially in districts, interior districts, and Dimapur does not have ILP. So those kind of things. So I think we are fairly effective in terms of our implementation of the ILP policy. You have any specific input that it is not effective, then we can take necessary action on that.
So which are the districts that have been conducting surprise checking before these meetings?
So I had an intensive discussion with the DC Dimapur. So DC Dimapur said that he had some surprise checks. Actually, DC Wokha also said that he had a coordination meeting. DC Perrin mentioned that he also recently conducted a meeting. So I would think that most of the DCs would have done it. Yeah.
Of course, you have mentioned about in talks with the neighboring state, but we also want to know how are you coordinating with the neighboring states to check influx of infiltration?
You mean from the state government side, from
Yes,
Kohima
yes.
side? So right now we are waiting for any inputs, any positive. So right now what we have got is that there is no such movement, no such unnatural movement of people. So that is why the most important, the first responders should always be the district administration, and because that is where on the ground things happen. By the time it reaches Kohima, by the time it reaches Guwahati, it will be at least two days, maybe 1 day, maybe 48 hours, 24 hours later. So our focus right now is to ensure that all our antennae are very active and ensure that any unnatural movement is immediately brought to the notice. And if the DC is also sitting in their district headquarters, if they have to respond, they have to similarly activate their antenna, which will be basically their border areas, their villages. So our main focus was that all the communication channels are activated and kept. So once that communication channels are activated and kept, we have that information, and on the basis of the information, at the appropriate level, we can take it up. So that is the strategy as of now.
Are you considering to involve the village guards as well?
Village guards would be in the eastern side. So DC Longlang and DC Mon have we have told them to also include them because they are already part of the district security coordination committee. So they are already there.
Sir, what if any unnatural movements are detected? Will they be deported or will the state provide asylum?
So those aspects we have not discussed right now with them, because it is a government of India issue also. It is much above my pay grade also to comment on that. So just that we are local laws, Nagaland's laws also have certain provisions which sort of say that people should carry their ILP, and if they don't have ILP, you will do XYZ things. So we are right now focused on identification and sort of, just like I mentioned, the communication lines are open. We know what is, if there is any unnatural movement or not, to get that information that whether there is unnatural movement or not. So that is our first priority as of now.
So since Dimapur is not under purview of ILP, do you think it would be the right time to impose ILP in Dimapur, especially with this impending danger?
So that is a thing that the government is also deliberating at the highest levels, so I don't want to comment on that. But be that as it may, though ILP is not applicable in Dimapur, we have alerted the DC, both all the three DCs, DC Dimapur, DC Chumukedima and DC Newland have been told that they should have surprise checks, especially the vulnerable entry points, the railway stations, etc. You can institute surprise checks, and then also they can identify their pockets because they have been in the districts, they know what is what, so they know the possible pockets. So they will do a vigilant check, and they have also activated the colonies and colony chairmen, the Gaumbudas, and